Hi, I'm just going to do a really short video today, but hope useful for people that have got very little experience of doing any weight training and just don't know where to start with a few basic exercises. Foremost in my mind is my friend Johnny, who I'm hoping will watch this, and he's got a bench and he's got a couple of dumbbells. I'll just use these for example today. Obviously, these are just a fixed weight. He's got something you can take the plates on off, so he can adjust the weights a little bit, which will help. But that's all he's got, which is a little bit limiting, but can easily work around and give you some ideas. So just going to run through a couple of the basics, and then we'll just show you some exercises that you can go away and have a go at. So first of all, in terms of how many times a week you train and how you split that up, if you trained, just looking maybe at the bicep, if I train my bicep once a week, it would stay more or less as it is now. To get improvements, you need to train the bicep 2 or 3 times a week. So depending on how you split your session up, if you're training the whole body in one go and do every muscle group on that day, if you did that twice a week or 3 times a week, you'd see improvement. If you did it once a week, you stay as you are. If you missed a week, you start to regress and detrain. So you need to think about how you split out your session. So if you're going to train the whole body in one session, that will make it a longer session, but you can just do that twice a week. If not, people look at splitting it down. So maybe one day they'll go and work upper body, the other day, next day they go and work legs, or some people do all the pushing groups on one day, all the pulling groups on the other day. There's loads of different ways of splitting it up. But essentially, just think about each muscle group, how many times over a 7-day period you're training them to get some benefits. So we'll look at those three. Well, first of all, I'm going to get rid of one, first of all, which is the core. So that is, we've got lower obliques, upper obliques, lower abs, upper abs, the obliques, which are the side here for twisting and bending, and then lower back muscles. And I would recommend for those that you just stick YouTube on, Google 10-minute ab workout for beginners, and just follow one of those on a video. And I would just do that in its own right, how many days a week you want to do it. So get that out of the way. Upper body, we want to work through from the biggest muscle groups to the smallest. So the first thing we want to do is back. Back, even with a bench and weights, is quite limiting. The two main areas we want to do is ones where we're pulling our weight up, so pull-ups. So if you've got something that you can use as a pull-up bar to do some pull-ups, that is a really key muscle, key exercise for the back. It works the latissimus dorsi, it gives that width to the back. In terms of ones that you can do just with these setups, then we're really limited to just a couple, which is to do some sort of row. So whether you just get in a nice strong position and just do some rowing, and you can do one arm and then the other, keep a really nice strong body position, and then swap over and do the same on the other arm. Or if you're going to use a bar or some dumbbells, then again, as long as you keep that nice strong back position, you can do rowing with those. The only other thing we can do potentially for the back is to do some reverse flies. So again, this would need a lower weight than you would want to use for rows. Rows are going to use quite a large weight, but we can do reverse flies, bent over, strong back, head up, and we're just bringing those weights out to the side. Now, with all these exercises, in terms of how many you do, depends a bit on what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to improve all-out power and strength, then you're looking to get to that point where you can't do one more, or really feel some sort of discomfort. You think, right, this is I've worked hard on this, at quite a low number. So it might only be that you do 5 or 6 reps and you're saying, I can't do that 7th. If you're picking that sort of weight, that's going to improve your power and strength. If you want to build muscle, which we call hypertrophy, then you're looking at trying to come to the end of your set between sort of 8 to 12 reps, roughly. I mean, it really depends on individuals and how strong you are mentally as well. So you'd pick a weight where you'd get to that point, you know, at about 10 reps, where you're thinking, I cannot do an 11th. That sort of range is going to increase muscle mass. If you go above that, if you're doing sets where you're doing 12, 15 or more, then that is great, really good exercise, and it will improve your muscular endurance and it will tone your muscles and benefit you in that way. So we play around with the weight to get us finishing at the right sort of number of reps, depending on what we're trying to achieve. So sorry, for back, pull-ups, rows of some sort, and maybe reverse flies, that you're really sort of limited to with without having a pull-up bar or lat pull-down machine. Chest, key one there is a bench press of some sort. So getting in a nice comfortable position on your bench with your feet planted, hands sort of shoulder width apart, is doing some bench press. And the bench that Johnny's got does allow him to change the angle of the bench. So if that gets a bit boring, you can change your bench so you're either inclined or declined, and that will hit different parts of the pecs. The other one we can do for the chest, again using a bench, is to do flies. So it's a nice wide angle. You can have a little bit of bend in your elbow, but we're trying to think about, we talk about hugging a barrel, trying to get your arms around a big barrel and just putting them together and really concentrating on feeling your chest pulling your hands together. So we can do flies is another good one for the chest. And the only other one we can really do is pullovers, which might be better. Johnny's got a little bar that I gave him as well. You can still do it with dumbbells. You could do it with one dumbbell or two, but it's just to let it go all the way back here and pull it forward. So they're pullovers. So there's 3 exercises you could do for chest. So we've done back, chest, shoulders. So shoulders have got a massive range of movement. So it's about trying to work on all those different deltoids that do those different groups. So we've got absolute classics like shoulder press, which you could do with dumbbells or with the bar. And we can work the outside deltoid, the lateral deltoids by doing lateral raises. So we can just be here, and we can work the front of the deltoids, the anterior deltoids, by doing front raises to the front. Or you can mix it up and do lateral, front, lateral, front. So shoulder press and different raises either to the side or the front for the shoulders. And the other one that works, sort of the traps here, which is sort of in between back and shoulders, is, and this will take quite a heavy weight, so you might be looking at other things you can find around the place that are just dead heavy, but anywhere where you're just having to shrug and lift a weight up, thinking about bringing those shoulders up to our ears is another good exercise for the back and shoulder area. Arms, bicep flexes the elbow. So the classic there with a dumbbell is to do a curl. And with a traditional curl, we just turn our hand as it comes up, so that by the time the hand gets up to the shoulder, it's facing the shoulder and drawing into the shoulder. You could do it one arm at a time, both together, or you could alternate. Completely up to you. As you'll notice with all these exercises that I'm showing you, they're all done with control. I'm not flinging the weight about. I'm not throwing the weights up by swinging my back or launching it up. And for all of them, we're taking it through the full range of movement. So very obvious with something like bicep curl that it goes all the way up and all the way down. You want to avoid exercises where you're only moving it through a small range of movement. That's only working a small part of the muscle, and you'll end up with some movement issues, possibly. So Johnny's got a bar. Johnny's got an EZ bar as well, which you can do exactly the same on. It does put the hands in a really nice, comfortable position. So you can do the same with a bar rather than the dumbbells if you wish. The other alternative on that is a hammer curl. So if you don't bend your hand, your wrist as it's going, and just keep your hand absolutely straight, it does still work the bicep, but also works the forearms a little bit as well, and the brachialis. So that's another variety on that bicep curl. Triceps at the back, we can go into that bent over position and have my elbow nice and high and still, so that my hand is just sort of hanging down from the elbow, and just push that back and let it come down. Push it back, let it come down. And those are kickbacks, just pushing the weight back. But again, some control. My elbow stays really still. It's only my hand that's moving in that position. Other alternatives, you can do virtually the same movement, but above your head. So you can do it with one hand and just have a little support from the other hand. And you can do this with your EZ bar as well, or a small bar. And you can also do the same on a bench if you want variety. So on your bench, if your elbows stay pointing at the ceiling and just having the weight pushing up. And that bar you've got is great for that as well. Or smash myself on the head with the dumbbell. But that bar works really well for that as well. Elbows stay pointing up, just weights moving. So there's a range there, but just work your way through from big muscles to small muscles. So it's back, chest, shoulders, then arms. You'll find your forearms have already done quite a bit of work if you've done that. So you probably won't need to do any more to your forearms. If you're really bored and want to, you can do things like, you can do some wrist curls, which work these wrist flexors, or turn it over. And that needs a really light weight that's really hard, is these muscles here, these wrist extenders. We can work on those as well, but I don't think you'll need to worry about forearm exercises. Legs, you're going to need heavier weights potentially for some of these. Number one exercises for legs and lower body are squats, which we can do with dumbbells, but you're going to need the heaviest dumbbells you can manage. Try and keep your back strong. Try and keep your head and shoulders up. See if you can get to a position where your thighs are parallel to the ground. So we're getting down really nice and low, but without leaning forward too much. So we can do squats or variations of. If you find that, there's just not enough weight to make that meaningful, you feel like you could do 20 and it's no problem, you can go to one-legged, so you can do pistol squats. So just rest your one foot on the bench and then just be pushing off of one leg, which even without any weights you can feel, but with weights will be a lot harder, because obviously you've got your whole body weight and the weights you're carrying, primarily using just one leg rather than two. So you can do pistol squats as an alternative. The other big one for lower legs after squats is deadlifts, and that is where we're taking a weight from the floor to upright. Just be really careful of that. If you're using a lot of weight, it's a really easy one to hurt your back doing. Bar is probably easier than dumbbells, but put all the weight you've got on a bar. This should be like the heaviest weight you can possibly do, and do it all the way from the floor up to standing, but keeping those shoulders up, head up, nice strong lower back. Hamstrings, back of the upper leg, again really tricky without hamstring curl machine. But the main one we can do for that is a Romanian deadlift or similar. So it's like a deadlift, but for this one, we don't bend the legs at all. So it's just, we come down about halfway. We're thinking about pushing our bottom back slightly, and then we're using our hamstrings to straighten up again. So it's just nice strong back. My back is arched upwards, bottom sticks out slightly, and then the action of my bottom coming forward pulls the weights up. The other one, last one for upper legs, which really works both sides quite well. One sort of isometrically and one sort of concentrically and one eccentrically, is to do lunges. So just holding the weights in a neutral position is to bring your weight forward and push back, and then do the other leg. So that quad is working really hard, pushing you back, but we've also got some work on the hamstrings as it allows you to sort of slowly lower to the floor. So even with relatively light weight, that really works the upper legs really well. Calves will have had some work from those exercises, but what you really want is some sort of action where you are going up onto tiptoes, which you can do on the floor. The more weight you can carry, the better. You'll find that the calves are really strong, so perhaps up the reps on this to sort of 15, 20 reps. Even better if you've got something that you can get your toes on, whether it's the back door step or something like that. But if you've got a step like this, we can go onto one foot. I'm going to bring this out a little bit. And you can just do calf raises using a little step. But having that height on the step lets you go through a much wider range of movement and lower your heels right down. So I hope that's of some help to get you going. If you want any questions, give us a buzz, put them in the comments sections below. But there's a range of core exercises, the main exercise you can do with weights if you've just got a couple of dumbbells or just got one bar and some sort of bench that you can use. Have fun, take care, bye.